It's, the first question has to do with jobs, jobs, jobs. We need more jobs in our region, and the question is, tell us something you could do in the next 2 years to bring more, better, good-paying jobs to our region. We'll start with Sakima.
Absolutely. I think the job creation market will have to start with tax relief for the business owners that we already have. My opponent mentioned Startup New York. However, the problem, the problem with Startup New York is that it allows new businesses to come in and gives them tax breaks. Well, what about the businesses that are already here? What about helping, the grassroots mom and pop shops that have been here and have worked in our communities and not only have their business here, but they live here and are part of this community? We need more tax relief for them. There's over 49,000 pages of taxes and mandates that they have to abide by. We need to start cutting through some of this red tape so that they can expand their businesses and create new jobs. Thank you.
Well, I think Startup New York is really a great idea, an out-of-the-box kind of a concept, and it really does not compete with existing businesses. We're talking about bridging theory with practice, marrying educational institutions with manufacturing. There's nothing more important than creating new jobs in manufacturing. As you know, this whole Hudson Valley area was nothing but manufacturing. We've lost all that, but we have to go high tech. And education institutions can play a major role in partnering up with manufacturers to create jobs. And I think Startup New York is an excellent program. In fact, recently we just certified Mount St. Mary's in the city of Newburgh, a city in need and in despair, to qualify as a startup manufacturing facility institution. So yeah, we do need to cut taxes. We need to cut regulation, red tape, and that's at every level, at the local level, at the federal level, at the state level. If you want to see how successful a community is, take a look and see what's happening at the local planning board, zoning board, building permits that are issued out. That's an indication of what's happening in your community. And we have cut taxes tremendously, the lowest in 60 years. And we've made investments in education where it counts to create opportunities and have our children ready for the jobs of the 21st century. Thank you.
Let's hope I don't have an accident up here. But Startup New York on paper would be a great idea, but my only complaint with it is the businesses that move in and take advantage of it. The people that work there, they use the same roads as us. Their schools, their kids go to the same schools as our kids. Somebody has to pick up the slack, pay extra taxes in order for them to receive those benefits. I too would like to see every small business receive some kind of tax credit or tax break. Needs to be done equitable. But I think the key here to job creation, economic growth in New York is our school taxes. School taxes, again, we have to somehow find another way to fund our schools, and that includes removing the school district's ability to tax, and we have to find another way to fund our schools, whether it be some sort of consumer tax, which adds a % on, or maybe an income tax to that. But again, the school taxes are what's driving our seniors south, because they cannot afford to stay here after retirement, and our children go elsewhere to seek opportunity.
Thank you. I don't necessarily agree with all of my colleagues on the significance of Startup New York per se. What I do like is its linkage with higher education. We know there has been one tried and true economic development program that has worked, and that is education. Education at the primary and secondary level, education at the higher education level. When I was at Alcoa this week talking to Russ, he could fill jobs if he had machinists, people who knew what they were doing. When I talked to the folks at IBM yesterday after the sale of Global Foundries, he said, we're actually hiring in Poughkeepsie if you know any engineers or programmers. So education is the key to making sure there are new jobs available in our community. In addition to that, every time we have one of these big tax giveaways, it's more burden on us. I spoke to a legislator from North Carolina, and he said, please don't do any more economic development programs in New York because our legislature will match you. And right now, 17 cents of every tax dollar raised in the state of North Carolina goes to pay off some tax incentives. And they're starting to be on the down curve. There was a lot of development there for a long time, but now that's not holding up. The other thing that's absolutely necessary and totally necessary in order for each and every one of us to thrive, whether as a business or an individual, is to have an infrastructure we can support and have those facilities in our community that we need. So keeping our hospitals alive, making sure our schools are well funded, and making sure our roads and bridges are safe and passable, and making our water systems so that they will last throughout the 21st century. It's the basics. Education and infrastructure. If we fix that, then you will do the rest.
Okay, so we are joined by Claudia Tenney, incumbent Assemblywoman. We thank you very much for being with us. She left yesterday this time to get here. Her district stretches from Oneida to Orange County, and for us in Ulster County, she represents Hardenburg, Denning, Wawarsing, and Shamgum. And I'll give you a chance to, in 2 minutes, answer the question that was on the table now, and that has to do with jobs, jobs, jobs. We need them in our region. What can you do in the next 2 years to help us create more and better paying jobs in our Hudson Valley region?
Thank you, Ward, and I apologize for being late. My drive is, I left at about 4:45 this morning just to get here. So thank you, and thank you, Kevin, for not voting for that district, and Pete. Not that it's been a great experience to be able to come to Ulster County, just because we always think of you being Southern Tier and you have all the advantages, but I found out when I got here, actually, you didn't necessarily have all the advantages, that you have to go to Westchester and Long Island for that. But as far as creating jobs, as you know, I've been here last year, or 2012, I'm a business owner. I run our family business along with my brother. We have been in business since 1946. We're a manufacturing facility. We do pharmaceutical packaging, and we're one of the last vestiges in upstate New York of actual manufacturing left. What can we do to create jobs in New York? And I'm sure that many of you have said it. It's not startup New York. I don't agree with it. We've been around for 68 years, but we continue to pay our full share of taxes and everything else. So do our employees. So why should somebody who moves into a SUNY campus just down the road not have to pay any taxes for 10 years when we've been paying them for 68 years? So that's not the answer, and it's not fair to our existing local businesses. What we need to do is reduce income taxes, reduce taxes across the board, reduce the cost of energy. If it weren't for us being on a power plant site, and having municipal power, we wouldn't be able to afford the kind of costs that we have as a manufacturer. Also, our burden, our regulatory burden. I've said this before, we're not against regulations in order to have a free market, which we don't really have in New York, but to have a free market, you have to have fair regulation, and you have to have equal enforcement of their law, and of course support of our Constitution, which supports theoretically a free market system. Right now we're moving away from that in New York, and that's what Startup New York is. As some of these programs are, they're nothing more than crony capitalism. They're helping big businesses at the expense of the small businesses, and I would guess most of the people in this room are small business owners. So for me, that's what I'd like to see to grow our manufacturing facility. And I think education is great, but let me tell Kevin that most of our jobs and our high-skilled jobs, and they're running very, very high-tech equipment, are family farms. Thank you. Former family farmers. Thank you.